Hello everyone, and we're back. And I just have to say, this guide is going to take a long time. Be warned, this one's going to be a bit longer than usual because there's a lot of shit I have to explain. So let's get right into the basic overview of our abilities first. So, number one is our actions. What kind of actions do you get as a summoner? Well, level 1, you get Rune. Level 2, okay, so yeah, you get Rune, which just deals unaspected damage of 80. Filler, very simple. You use that when nothing else is going on. There's a lot of things going on. At level 2, you get Bio. It's a dot. It does damage over time. It deals unexpected damage over time of 40 for 18 seconds. You want this up all the time. As long as you can get it up, keep it up. It's an insta-cast, by the way. This is a 2-second cast. So, this will be very important. Summon is a caster type pet. It gives you a few abilities, and we'll go over each pet ability in another section here. We're just going over the overview of the abilities, so we'll go over each pet ability you get. Level 4, you also get, I want to say Psychic? Not Psychic. It's a heal. Obviously, the extra job with the Arcanist class is a Scholar, which is already 60. So I don't even have healer gear yet, so I can't even play it. But it's just a heal. Don't worry about it. It's a DPS. You're not gonna really worry about that. It doesn't heal it for that much, anyways. Ether Flow. It restores 20% of your mana. It also gives you 3 stacks of Ether Flow as part of it. So it gives you 3 stacks of these. You'll get these throughout as you level. So these will be used for certain abilities, and we'll get to those abilities a bit later too. Next is Energy Drain. Actually, here is one of the abilities. One of the abilities is Energy Drain. Deals unexpected damage of 150 potency. Additional effect: it absorbs 50% of the damage dealt as HP and restores mana. So yeah. And it also grants Aretha Trail Attunement, which we'll talk to over a little bit later. That's another important thing in a lot of things the class has. It's funny. Mesmina, I guess Misa? Misa! No. Another damage over time. It deals 20% unexpected potency right off the bat. Additional effect, it deals damage over time. 24 seconds. It also reduces the recovery target by healing magic and slows the target for 24 seconds. These will slowly fall off. Virus reduces the target's strength, dexterity, int, and mind by 50%. Last 10 seconds can only be used on the same effect every minute. So it's a 90-second cooldown. Used every minute because you have other summoner scholars. Or I think white mages can get this, and then also black mages. So, this is something I don't really use here and there because I forget about it. But it's something you should actually try and use to help out your tank so he doesn't, take it to the face. So, yeah. Summon 2 is a tank pet. Use this in the world. We'll go over Summon 1 and there's Summon 3. We'll go over those pets again in a later section. But Summon 2 is a tank pet. Don't use this inside instances if you're doing things in the world. He's great. Have him punch things in the face for you while you stand back and, kill them. Sustain is a pet heal, 8%. If your pet's low on health, use this. It's important to keep your pet alive and not let it die because your pet's going to be very helpful. Resurrection. It resurrects the weak target. It dies. Say the healer dies. You can actually res the healer. Because usually when a healer dies and you don't have a summoner in your group, that's usually it. Unless the boss is almost dead. So, otherwise, then Bio 2 is another dot over time. You can have Bio 2 and Bio 1 up at the same time, which is actually quite recommended. Bane, level 3, level 30, is a thing that spreads Bio 2, and your Misa to nearby enemies. Potency is halved for the 4th enemy and beyond. I never read that before. Oh well. Duration time remaining on the original effect, so if it's, say, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and 20 seconds, the next guy will have the same thing, and the guy after that, and the guy after that. Additional effect, 15% chance that Bio and Bio 2 and Mija 2 will during release set the cooldown if shorter than the original duration. I have not seen this on the main target, but it might work on it. Works on, I think, the other targets. So there's a chance that you throw one off, and every target gets that. Yep. And then again, it gives you another either trail attunement, which is again important later on. I'll explain that later. Eye for Night, level 34, deals. It doesn't do anything. It's a thing where you throw on the tank, and there's a chance where if the tank takes some damage, the burial will strike the striker, and that target will deal 10% less damage. So use that if a tank's going to do mass pull. Rune 2 is an instant cast rune. It also blinds the target for 10 seconds. Expect of 80. Use this. This will be part of the rotation early on. But use this if you have to move. There's no need to really spam the crap out of it. Just use it kind of on the move. So, yeah. Ruse is a pet. It's a pet. It increases the spell base restoration and damage dealt by your pet by 40%. While roused, your pet is immune to stun, blind, sleep, heavy, paralyzed, and disease for 20 seconds. So use this when it's basically on cooldown. It's every minute, so you'll be using it every minute. Mija 2 is it's the same thing as 1, except this one's a Wii and it's not a cast. It's an instant kind of melee. You got to kind of be in melee to use this. I only use this on a lot of targets. Otherwise, I don't really use it all that much. Even though I've been looking around at other people, and a lot of people use them. Sorry. Other people use it in part of their opener rotation. It depends if you can get close to the boss or not, but I really don't see a point. Okay, so Shadow Flare is an AoE. It deals 25 potency to any target who enters it and who's entered it. It cannot be used with any other area creating effects. I don't know what that means. I had still figuring that out because I can use all of mine and it still have this up, and it slows 5%. Traits for the Arcanist are Ether Dam. This is the first stack of Etherthil that you get. These do last indefinitely, so you don't have to use them all right away. Enhanced Intelligence, increased intelligence by 2. Enhanced Intelligence 2 increases your intelligence by 4? Yeah. Main and Men increases your base damage and HP restoration by 10, and also your pet gets increased damage too by 10%. Ether Dam 2, same thing. Now this one allows 2 stacks. Level 24. Enhanced Pet Action. There's a 20% chance of increasing spell speed by 20% when your pet deals critical damage or restores critical HP. So when it crits, there's a chance you can cast a little bit faster. Very helpful at times. Super Virus. Your virus adds a 15% intellect and mind and imbuement to virus. Cool. Enhanced Intelligence increases intelligence by 6. Simple stuff. Energy Siphon, it doubles the amount of mana restored by Energy Chain. Main and Men 2, you do 30% damage, increased base damage or HP, and increased base damage with your pets and healing. Same thing. Ether Dam 2, this is your third and final stack, or 3, excuse me. Ether Dam 3 allows the stacking of up to 3, so now you have 3. And this all plays a role later on in the game. Enhanced Eye for an Eye restores the cooldown for 2 minutes instead of it's like 180 seconds or 90 seconds or something like that for other classes, but you get the better one. So obviously, and Enhanced Rouse, it is now shortened to a recast of 60 seconds. So that is the base Arcanist abilities. Now let's go to the job. The job is Summoner. This is what you want to know about. So. Summoner Guy. Summon 3. This is your attack pet. This is a melee type pet that just punches things in the face and gives out a little shield and all that. We'll go over pet abilities in another section here. Fester. It deals more damage. It causes wounds inflicted by Bio 2, and Mija to fester dealing damage with a potency of 100 for each cast by you. So, and this can only be used when under the effect of, again, Aether Flow. Aether Flow. No. Ether Flow. Aether. It's like Ether Flow, yeah, because it's silent. Then Ether Trail Attunement, another thing. Alright, so this is probably going to be what you're going to use most of your stacks on, is Fester throughout the fight, basically. Try it blind. It deals unexpected damage to a potency of 30 to targets. I don't even use this. Hardly ever. I don't really see a need to. I don't know, unless someone else uses it. Or try it blind and try it blind. Spur. Increases your pet's physical and magical attack power by 40%. So, use that. Really can. And then in Kindle, command your pet to use its signature attack. Okay. So, that is the level 50 summoned abilities. So yeah. So now let's go over pets before we get into like the level 50 rotation. So for pets, which pet do I use? Do I use 1 or 3? Well, it depends on which one you want. So we'll start off with number 1. We'll explain number 1. Oh, right. So another thing is I forgot to mention, is for your for additional classes you want Raging Strikes, Coiling Strikes, and Swift Cast is the 3 I use the most. Raging Strikes for damage, Cooling Strikes because sometimes your dots will pull off and tank will lose aggro, so this will be very important to help the tank. Very important. And then alright, my nose is like stuffed up this morning for some reason. See. And then Swift Cast obviously makes your next cast immediate. So let's talk about each pet. Well, each pet has certain abilities. So for instance, if you pick the first one, which is Grata Igni. Now as a summoner, you get empowered pets. Your pets become smaller versions of the primals. The first 3 primals in the game. So you get Grata, Ifrit, and Titan. So the first pet is this is your range pet. It has Windblade, Shockwave, Aerial Slash, and Congestion. Congestion is a very important ability. If you use this pet, this is the pet I mainly use. Oh, and also make sure you have your pet on Obey, so it just doesn't willy-nilly cast, because it'll knock back, and then you use Congestion on cooldown, and you want to line up Congestion with other dots and stuff. So, so the Congestion is, it extends your dots to 15 seconds, and while it's on Obey, only you can tell it to execute that ability. So have it keybound. So I have a few things I do like to do though. As a quick tip, is you can put your pet on steady, and it'll just sit there. And if you tell it to obey, it'll unsteady. So you can just have those two, and then obviously, Congestion and heal. Heal will tell your pet to follow you. It won't do anything else. Then you tell it to attack you. So that's your basic pet right there. This is the pet I mainly use. It's just much easier to use anyways. Aerial Blast, it deals wind damage with potency of 250 to a target and all enemies near it. This is only executed when using Enkindle, so this is its special Enkindle ability. Every primal has one of these as a summoner. As a summoner, yeah. Okay. Scholar, you get fairies, so it doesn't even matter. Rock. This is the Titan. So for Titan, this is the pet you only want to use if you're going to be tanking anything in the world, any world content you're doing. So this is I guess I'd show them anyways. This is the Titan one, the Titan Igni. If anything, use this in the world. And for the last one, the Summon 3, which is special only to Summoner. So the Summoner gets this one. This guy, I didn't go over Titan's abilities, but Titan's abilities are Rock Buster, punches things in the face, Mountain Buster, punches things in the face, Earth Ward reduces his damage, Landslide stuns the target, punches in the face. Really, this is just a quick one because and this one deals. This one deals 200 potency to all nearby enemies and causes additional effect Raised Earth, which is potency of 20, and that's for 15 seconds. Again, only speed awake and kindle. Alright, so Ifrit. He's a bit different. He's a melee pet versus a range pet, so that's the whole thing too. I was reading about this a lot more. So, Crimson Cyclone deals damage of 100 and stun. This is, I think, ability you this ability can be executed. This is like his auto attack is Burning Strike, and Crimson Cyclone is like kind of stun that you're gonna use basically on cooldown. So obviously you would have, if you're gonna use him, you'd obviously have his abilities like keybound. Unlike me, I don't really use him that much, so I use Garota better. I prefer Garota, but again, it's all up to you. It's all up to whoever. So Earthern Fury deals. I already did that, right? Crimson Cyclone, Burning Strikes is his auto attack, 120 potency. Actually, that's probably just an ability that he uses. Radiant Shield delivers attack of a potency of 50 every time physical damage suffered. So it's basically every time. It's basically what he does is he casts it on everyone in the party, and say the tank is taking damage, he will deal that damage back to that target that the tank is getting punched by. Like, there's an ability, I think it's Warriors or someone gets this kind of same exact thing. So, Flaming Crush deals fire damage with a potency of 110 to all nearby enemies. Just an AoE, all that kind of stuff. So, see AoE, yeah. And then Inferno is his Enkindle ability, which deals a potency of 200 to all enemies and leaves a fire dot of 20. Potency of 20 for 15 seconds. And this is his Enkindle ability. Now, which pet do you use at which moment? It's up to you. If you're not like a stupid hardcore person, like I'm not a stupid hardcore person, not anymore. I was back in WoW, but min-maxing your pet doesn't really matter. You can go with 1 or 3, depending on how you feel. If you want that melee pet to punch in the back, he's a bit more control though, because you have to click on his stun or keep buying his stun. He has a few more abilities that is more active than passive. Ooh, that was a good one. Excuse me. So Flame Crush. You're going to be basically using all these abilities basically on cooldown. Maybe except Radiant Shield. I don't know. But so yeah. But I prefer Grata here because one, she extends your dots, which is great. It makes having dots a lot easier and lasting a lot longer. And then she has the Aerial Slash and this Shockwave, which is a knockback, and it's very annoying. So I don't really use this at all, actually. I kind of ignore it because tanks always get upset when something gets knocked back and they have no control over it. Honestly, I could actually finally keybind Aerial Slash. I'll just keybind it here. But, so that's your basic pet needs, your pets. Now, if you had to pick, like I said, you can pick either one. Doesn't matter which one you want. Just pick it. I use this one again to extend my dots, to have more dots. Okay, now, let's talk about our dots. Our dots, again, as we mentioned before, our dots are a big part of our rotation. They are how do I want to do this? Yeah, right. So if it's like, consider someone like a sandwich. The bread is you, the meat is your dots, and the cheese is your pet, basically. So you're kind of holding this together. Like, without you, the dots and the pet wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They'd be like, I'm stuck in this container. Anyways, so basically, again, your 3 dots are Mija, your 3 most important dots, Bio 2 and Bio. These are most important dots. You want to keep these up all the time as best as you can. So, yeah. So let's go over something that I really didn't want to talk about. Well, it's something that is kind of important. This class can be the hardest class in the game. Here's a few reasons why. There's a thing called snapshotting, which basically means, so say I put this dot up without any other cooldowns. So say I put, this dot up with no cooldowns, that's its damage it's dealing. It's dealing 236, 224 damage. So then, let's say, for instance, I use Raging Strikes, right? And then I put the dot back up. And now it will deal more damage. See? 280. It deals way more damage now than it did before. So, that's what basically snapshotting is. Snapshotting is it increases your dot's damage by whatever. So, that doesn't make it that hard, but it can make it kind of complicated when you're trying to line up cooldowns, especially when you get into the later levels of 60, closer to 60. What else? So that's your basic dot snapshotting right there. So say you put a dot up, it'll be weaker than the next one. So if you put up an empowered dot and it's going to deal a lot of damage, this is the reason why I use this pet, because my empowered dots can be up for longer than they can with the other guy. And that's where I kind of find it the most rewarding there. But it's up to what you want, really. It doesn't matter. So let's talk about, again, another important thing is our abilities that use our 3 stacks of either. So Fester, and at level 50 it's Fester and Energy Drain. That's it. These two you don't... Energy Drain is only used if you can't get your dots up, which you should have your dots up. Unless there's like a high movement thing, and you can use this to get some quick damage in. Same thing with Fester. Rune 2. You can use Rune 2 if a movement thing. If you gotta move or kite something. And then Fester, it deals more damage with the more dots you have, so if you have all 3 dots up, use Fester. Now, there's no need to really spam Fester every 10 seconds. It's just to take time. Don't really rush it. Personally, I don't really rush it, because at level 60, it's a bit different. So, your level 50 rotation, I really don't find that hard. I find it to be, you apply your dots. So I go down the list here. I go Mija, Bio 2, Bio, Empower My Pet, Enkindle, and then Fester. And that's basically the level 50 I do, and then Shadow Flare, yeah. So with Shadow Flare, it's basically a dot that is a buff to you. So you just push this down. I actually call it the disco ball. It's just a giant disco ball. And so you have this down if the boss is going to move within the next, 5 seconds to really get the full potency out of this, because this one is kind of silly to kind of use. So, and then again, as your filler, you want to spam Rune, and see my dots are coming off cooldown and all that. So, and then if you're using this pet right here, if you're using Grata, you do a conjunction, that's my old guild, congestion. It increases my dot timer, so you get a nice fresh pair of empowered dots up, you drop that, and then you go ham on other cooldowns and stuff like that. So that's basically that, which is okay. Now, let's get into what makes this class actually hard. Level 60. On the road to level 60, when you're doing 52, 54, 56, 58, and 60, I almost said 59. Where's the damn job? There it is. Level 52, you get Plain Flare, which is an AoE, deals 200 potency to all targets nearby. Can only be executed, again, when you're under that either flow attunement. So, and don't waste stacks like I just did there, by the way. Use them all. You want to use every single one of them. But for guide purposes, you want 3 stacks. Level 54, you get Rune 3, which deals 120 potency, unexpected damage of 120 potency. Its MP cost is reduced. It equals a cost, basically, when used in Dreadward Terrence, which you get at level 58. It is basically reduced to the level of Rune 1. So when you're in Dreadworm Terrence, you want to use Rune 3, and when you're not, Rune 1. Or Rune. Whatever you want to consider it. It's just called Rune. So yeah, just Rune. Level 56, Try Disaster. And this just puts your dots on the target. You just slap your dots on the target. Very simple. Very nice for trash. However, we'll get into the rotation. This is where the rotation is going to get really complicated, so be warned. This will be used later on in the rotation. Actually, so you'll see. So, Dreadworm Terrence. It increases your magic damage dealt by 10%. Again, here's another damage increase where we can snapshot our dots. This is what I like to do, and it'll make it it makes it a lot easier to do. So, it increases magical damage dealt by 10% while lowering the mana cost of Rune 3, which means Rune 3 will equal Rune 1. It doesn't say that, but it is. So, it can only be executed when you have these Ether Trail attunements of 3. So, to get those, you have to use your Ether Flow actions, which is Fester, Energy Drain, and now Pain Flare. And Death Flare deals a potency of 100 to all nearby targets and all enemies, can only be executed while in Dreadwing Terrence. This is what you want to use to exit Terrence when you don't need it anymore. Like 2 to 1 seconds, you just drop this, and you're just, boom, I'm done. And then you go back to Rune 1 and keeping your dots up and waiting for cooldowns to happen again, so you can line it all back up and do it again, which I find a lot of fun. So, it's actually a lot of fun. It's complicated. Now, I'll go over this very slowly. So for your opener of your rotation for level 60 is this. So, you want to apply your dots. So your dots have now been applied. Okay. Well, now you have a lot of free globals here, so you could put Rune 2 in between your globals. And then you do Energy Drain, Fester, Pain Flare, Rune 2, pop your cooldown, so Raging Strikes, Dreadwing Terrors, try Disaster to put your new dots up, Conjunction, and now you spam Rune 3 until about now, and then you use that, and that's, your basic opener right there. And then you go into Rune 2 when you got nothing else to use. And now, here comes the part where I don't know if I'm going to be hated for it, but most times I just kind of casually will build my stacks back up. So when Try Disaster and Congestion come back on cooldown, I can again empower my dots like that, have empowered 10% damage, more dots, and deal more damage. So, so basically, because this is on a minute cooldown anyways, so having this lined up with this just about to end would be perfect, in my opinion. So, and then obviously, keep power as your pet. Use Virus if the tank is taking a lot of damage, or if you got some free time, basically. In AoE, so AoE is very important as a summoner. Again, I forget to mention Pain Flare, or Champagne, I wish it was called Shadow Flare, can be used in a single target situation. I tend not to use it, because some bosses tend to move more than they should. So yeah, so I tend to use this if the target is on the move, or if, other stuff like that. So basically, don't use this. Use this in AoE situations, though. So, say, for instance, abilities that will be used in AoE will be Mija 2, Bane, and Pain Flare. Bane will spread your dots. Pain Flare will deal 200 damage to everyone. And Mija 2. Now, in an AoE situation, I don't tend to empower my dots at all. I tend to go right into Dreadwing Terrence, hit Rune 3 a couple times, and then Death Flare, because it's cool. I mean, the thing is crazy looking. It's a pretty cool looking ability. So basically what you do is, now what you want to do in your AoE situation is apply your dots, and then extend your dots, and while your pet's doing that, Shadow Flare, because my pet's usually casting, but I don't have him on casting just because of reasons to extend my dots easily. So now you're doing this, then you can hit Bane, which will spread your dots. You can put this dot up too, and then Pain Flare. And yeah, that's basically what you want to do. And then Fester if you want to kind of save your last stack for either another Pain Flare or to spread your dots again if the trash is still pretty high on health. But otherwise, yeah. So that's your AoE rotation. There's not a lot of fights that are multi-target anyways. Some of them are. Some of them, the mobs are spread out to where you really... Summoner isn't very good at switching targets sometimes. Try Disaster makes it very helpful. Yes. Try Disaster can make it very easy to switch to another target anyways. So, if you don't plan on empowering your dots anytime soon. Which I find is okay. So, my final thoughts on this class. This class is very hard to play. It has it's I say it's one of the hardest classes to play, but it's like one of the most rewarding classes to play. Our single target is very weak, but our AoE is stupid strong. Like, it's silly. Like, if there's an AoE fight, you would want to bring a summoner because they can deal so much AoE damage so fast at times. With Shadow Flare, Death Flare, Bane, Pain Flare. A lot of flares. Holy crap. Is this really old Death Flare? Yeah, it is really old Death Flare, yeah. It is, yeah. Why did I forget that? Anyways, so yeah. And then you got the pet that can deal AoE damage, again with Aerial Slash, and Enkindle, so that's AoE. So you have a lot of AoE as a summoner. You are probably the strongest AoE target. Then you are... Excuse me, take a drink there for a minute. Which you are the best AoE class. 10 out of 10, best AoE. 5 out of 10, you're probably 10 out of 10 best AoE, 10 out of 10 worst single target class in the game. Your single target is basically null and void. It's not very much. That's why dot snapshotting kind of helps us out with that. So if you do consider dot snapshotting, remember to use your cooldowns. As in, I usually use this about every minute instead of every 30 seconds. I slowly build up my stacks, and then I'm going to try Disaster, and because again, the either trail leads, it's about 20 seconds, so you have a good 30 seconds before you even need to worry about using it. So you can get to your 3 stacks and then wait for Try Disaster, pop Judgment Turrets, and do that. Very simple. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Did I go over everything? Pets. Let me look here. Yeah, it seems about it. Like I said before. Now, there are many different openers. I prefer my opener. I think makes it very easy for the class to understand. Throw in Rune 2 when you're using non-global abilities, so you can keep that global going. It's very important you keep that your main global cooldowns of Rune of your casts going, so you don't ever really lose out on much damage. So you're using like your pet abilities or your Ether Flow actions. That way you can keep the global going for days. So that's the other thing. Otherwise, this class is the hardest, but also I think the most rewarding, second being Monk, obviously, because Monk you have to be behind, front, side, upside down, fucking in the air for the, I don't know. Monk has the most positional requirements, where this has the most kind of management requirements, where you got to manage this and manage that, got to manage these stacks and then manage these stacks when they're ready, and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are really looking into this class, I still recommend you check it out. Don't be worried how hard I say it is. You get the hang of it. It doesn't take that long to get it. Really, it took me a couple weeks to get that really down to the finer points of this class. So thank you guys for watching. I hope the guide's not too long, but if it is, I already apologize for that. Now, thank you guys for watching. Gameplay will be right after this, so make sure you watch that too if you want to see a little bit more of the rotation in action a bit longer, and just to hear me blabble about things. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the gameplay.